fires caused by electric bikes or e-scooters.
You know, last year the FDNY responded to more than 200 fires caused by these lithium-ion batteries, and we're on track to surpass that number this year. Nearly 70 fires already on the record. So joining us this morning to discuss how the city is working to address this issue is New York City Fire Commissioner Laura Kavanagh to talk about this and more. So Commissioner, good to see you this morning. Thanks for being here.
Me.
I feel like this is all we talk about with you lately, but it's such an important topic because people are losing their lives from these batteries, right? And safety is so important. There are no federal safety standards. And you actually wrote a letter to the Consumer Product Safety Commission urging them to take action. Did you get a response from them about that?
So we did gratefully get a response, and also Chuck Schumer and Senator Gillibrand, as well as our congressional delegation, have also jumped onto that response and are putting pressure on the Consumer Product Safety Commission. So we're actually very hopeful, due to their response, that these regulations are going to take effect. I think the real question, and you just raised it, is in the interim, these bikes are here and these batteries are here, right? So how do we make sure that people know they may have this dangerous battery in their home, or that the one they're buying today may not be safe? I think those regulations will come, but we have to make sure folks are safe in the interim.
Right.
So speaking of people, folks, a lot of people use these bikes, you know, to make a living.
Yeah.
So we know that several delivery services actually donated money to the FDNY to improve e-bike safety. What is that money actually being used for, and is it enough?
So I think initially what it's going to be used for is exactly what I mentioned, education. It's just to make sure people know this bike that's in your home may not be safe, and how can you check to see that it is? How can you use it as safely as possible until you're able to, know you have a safer replacement? But I think there's still more that we're doing. We're still reaching out to those companies to make sure that they can get to their workers, that there are, ways to swap out for safer batteries, to subsidize the cost of these batteries. Just to, I think this is really one of those problems we have to come at from every angle as a city to make sure we're getting these dangerous devices out of people's homes.
Are you looking for an all-out ban on these cheaper batteries? Because in reality, when you just look at the larger picture, yes, they'll come out with the safer ones, right? But those unsafe ones are still going to be on the market. It's almost like a space heater, and people, let's talk about inflation and reality of what people can afford, are always going to go to that cheaper option and just hope it doesn't happen to them.
Exactly. So there's a couple things. I think one is, we would love to ban them, but again, they're here already. And that our real big concern is, like, do you have this device sitting in your home right now, and how do we let you know that? I will also say that we know from the Consumer Product Safety Commission, who you mentioned, that it actually only costs about 10 cents per device to regulate them. So while there is a variety of costs of these batteries, we want to make sure they're not being passed on to the consumer, because as far as safety goes, it's not actually that much more expensive to create a safer battery. It's really about regulation.
And it's interesting, I actually saw one of these e-bikes being sold between people on the street, so even the person buying it may not be aware.
Yeah, you see a lot of off-market or third-party use. I think you've seen some of these inspections we've done with our fire prevention inspectors and our marshals, where they've found hundreds of batteries being illegally charged or illegally modified. That's where real danger is, where there could be a huge fire that would be a risk to our members, would be a risk to the public. And so that's, we're setting out to try to find those, confiscate them, educate folks who have these, but ultimately the state would be that for these are regulated, and nobody has to worry whether or not they have an unregulated device in their possession.
Yeah, so the UL is what you're looking for, right?
Yeah, you're looking for that UL certification on the battery.
Keep us posted on that and how that's moving forward. I do want to talk about the garage collapse in Manhattan. I know you've revisited the site recently. What is the FDNY, I guess, doing with the maybe Department of Buildings in collaboration to prevent something like this from happening again? Because the warning signs were there.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I think this is all about interagency collaboration, and you've seen it, right? So us and OEM and DOB were on scene right away, really, looking at what happened, and just like you said, the city has gone out and begun inspections of other garages to make sure that if there are any other, imminent issues, that we're ahead of it.
Now, we also know during the garage collapse, the FDNY was able to actually display and use some new technology, the robo-dogs. So we saw the video circulating online. How many of these do you actually have in your disposal, and how helpful do you think they will be in future missions?
So we have a couple of the dogs. We also have some drones and some other technology. I think what I would say when it comes to technology, they're very cool looking, obviously, and people have a lot of interest in them. But for us, it's all about technology that makes people safer. And I think that's the important thing to remember. And that's our members. And if our members members are safer, they can save more lives. So, that's really what you saw at the collapse, right? The dogs can go in and see whether or not the structure itself is safe. The drones can give us an overhead view to see if there are patients that maybe we don't even know about, and can help us understand what are the conditions we're sending our members into and how many people are waiting to be rescued. And so we're really seeing that it saves lives, both of first responders and the public.
Yeah, because you never know what the terrain's like in there, right? It's
Exactly.
the first thing that can go in, because if it's unstable. There was this video on social media of the dog toppling over. The dog gets back up, right?
The dog gets back up, yes.
Gets back
Actually,
up.
if you see a second video, you see me pushing the dog and it getting back up just to test that functionality. So
Right.
that is what they're built for.
Yeah,
they're pretty
it's
hardy.
so fun. I mean, like, of course it doesn't stay. It gets back up. While we have you here, we've recently talked to you about some turmoil in the department, and I just want to touch upon that right now and get an update. These lawsuits, demotions, right? Former chief saying that there was age discrimination. Now, you can't talk too much because it's a legal factor. I don't know if you want to set the record straight if these folks are going to come back, but really the morale of the department.
Yeah, I can't speak to the lawsuit, but we really have been chugging forward. We're a team. The team is still working together. Everybody's on the same page, especially focused on these safety issues. Every week we're meeting about batteries, about member safety. So that. The lawsuit will be a lawsuit, and that's fine. But I am looking at, how to run the department, how to create a team that can help accomplish these things, and we're doing them together every day. So things are good. Morale of the fire department is always good because what our members do is so incredible. And I think, you've seen that in the collapse. You've seen that in a couple of these recent fires. Really, they're always doing the work every day, and that is, for me, that's what inspires me. I know it's what inspires my team, and they're amazing. Our members are amazing.
All right. Well.